Hello guys, my name is Anna and I vlog daily from Ukraine to keep you updated on the situation during this war with Russia. And today I actually feel like a Kyiv Rus woman warrior, but we are going to speak about peace because this is something that Zelensky dedicated his speech on G-20 or G-19, as he repeatedly called the meeting on Bali, perhaps hinting that it is no more place for Russia among the countries that decide global politics. Well, first of all, the message that is very important for all the Ukrainians, and it was voiced by our president, that we are not ready for any compromises. Never we are going to give our territory, our independence, sovereignty, and anything that Russia wants from us is totally illegal. Another thing why we feel that no compromises and no negotiations on Russian conditions are possible are the fact that, let's have a look, they have invaded Ukrainian territory, they have killed brutally, they have looted, they have destroyed our infrastructure, they broke our plans, our normal life. They turned our country, some parts of our country, into a ruin, and at the same time they lost because Ukrainians, united with their allies, were strong enough to protect the land, to take back the territories. More than 50% of our territories that were quickly occupied at the beginning of this totally illogical war is already back to Ukraine, which is also very important, and we have to thank our Ukrainian armed forces and Zelensky general, and of course our allies from all over the world. So they did so many crimes against Ukrainians and against the world and global normality. Now they are losing and they want to negotiate, or they want to be respected, or they want to dictate something. Of course, it is not something that is going to happen. And of course, we will not let Russia to take some time to regroup as they want, because when they withdraw their Russian orcs troops, they believe they will get some time, they will pretend that they are ready to negotiate, they will manipulate global opinion, and then they will collect more people, more weapons, and return back to their terrorist practice. And no one is going to believe Russia, no one is going to give it time, because Russia must be defeated right now, and the sooner the better. That's why on the meeting of G20, G19, President Zelensky spoke about 10 steps to peace that are vital and important from the Ukrainian perspective, and he mentioned various aspects that I'm going to repeat right now because I totally support his vision of that. First of all, that is radioactive and nuclear safety. Then it is product supply safety. We all know how important grain deal was and how good that when Russia, after the Kerch bridge explosion, started terrorizing the world, Turkey guaranteed this safety. So product supply is important for the countries that depend on the food that comes from Ukraine, and that delivery sometimes was impossible, not because of war in Ukraine, but because of Russian war in Ukraine. Then energetic safety, because Ukrainian energetic system is important for European energetic system. We are all united now, and no place for Russian energetic terrorism anymore. It is also important that all captured and all deported Ukrainians to be freed and to return back to Ukraine. Of course, all the Ukrainian territories must return back according to the 1991 borders and according to the United Nations stated. Also, Russia must stop military actions, any military actions on the territory of Ukraine, and withdraw all of its troops, and like from the territory of Ukraine forever. And also justice is very important, and personally I see Putin in The Hague and Lavrov in The Hague. This may be a different city, but justice, court, persecution, punishment is very important in this war, so that future dictators will not appear. They will see what happened to Putin and they will stop their political career, or the world will stop them. But this justice is very, very important too. Also, ecocide must be stopped, because this war is a huge tragedy to global ecology, and of course no further escalation, and the end of war is very important too. That must be fixed in documentation, and I don't know what must happen later with Russia, because they cannot continue with Putin and Putin-like regimes, but somehow their society is so poisoned by years of Soviet totalitarianism, by this Putin's propaganda, that I think it will be really difficult to work and deal with them. As far as I know, the reaction of the still alive Minister of Foreign Affairs Lavrov was pretty aggressive. He did not like Zelensky's speech, and he said that our president was speaking for too long. He was given 20 minutes instead of 3 minutes, and of course all of our demands are unrealistic from the perspective of one of the supreme Russian orgs. But definitely I think the global society sees the situation and the end of the war with Russia approximately the same way as we do, and this is also proved by the fact that the United Nations General Assembly voted that reparations and financial return is very important for Ukraine, and Russia must pay back everything that it destroyed in Ukraine. Of course, 94 countries voted, and this is important because I do understand that many of these international organizations, they work like not that 100% effectively, but sometimes for justice, for courts, for various political procedures to exist and to work, it is very important to have various resolutions, documents and other stuff that can support and back up the ideas of other global leaders. So this decision is very important for Ukraine, and one day Russia will have to pay back everything that it stole from Ukraine, starting from stolen raccoons and finishing with destroyed infrastructure. Of course, there are many things, especially not things, but lives, that Russia cannot return back, and it will pay, I think, a karma debt or something like that, because things like that cannot be forgiven, things like that cannot be forgotten, and trauma of Ukrainian society maybe even can be cured faster than trauma and darkness inside of Russian heads. Anyway, this is a quick update on G-19 meeting, as our president says, and I think that it's extremely important to start talking about peace in Ukraine, but of course peace only after victory. We are not going to stop or to freeze this war. We have to win over Putin's regime and Russian soldiers, and only then we can start building, rebuilding and changing global security system, global defense system, because Russia has demonstrated that flaws exist. Otherwise we would have been able to prevent this war. Thank you for buying me coffees. Tomorrow they promise frost, so we'll check if it is going to snow in Ukraine. Sometimes it snows in November too. Thank you for becoming my patrons, and thank you for your support of my country, Ukraine. Let me know what other topics you would like me to speak in my future videos. Slava Ukraini!